Well, that was a waste of 10 minutes, but welcome back to the shop. Rainy day in New England. I'm in the middle of a few projects, but it's a rainy day, so I'm actually going to do, trying to straighten. I'll get to that in a minute. One of my 8-foot levels is bent, and I'm going to try and straighten it. But what I want to cover really quick, and you know how my videos go, it's probably going to not long, but this is, for informational purposes and education, and I think it's important. So, however long it goes, it goes. But, long story short, my cousin has a cabinet shop. He's a contractor, builder. He's a shop teacher at the local high school just north of me where I grew up, my high school in Middleborough, Massachusetts. They do, he's kind of converted over to CNC and all those things now, but still, shop teacher, very knowledgeable kid, and his cabinet shop burned up. And he called me up and said, hey, I'm getting rid of a bunch of my tools that are damaged by fire and smoke and this, that, and the other thing. I don't have time to clean them up. So if you want some of the stuff, come up and get it. And I think we're going to latch on to 15-inch general planer, really nice planer, a bandsaw, I think it's a Delta, and a few other things. But what I agreed to do for him was he had tons of hand tools that when they came in and his Delta Unisoc caught on fire in the middle of the night, got on the ceiling. When the fire department showed up, they hosed the whole place down, and of course everything had heated up, gotten hot, and then they hosed it down, and it rusted everything. So very heavily rusted everything, and the shop has been sitting open to the elements in New England for several months since it happened. So I said to him, well, give me some of these things and I'll restore them for you to help them out. And typically we do electrolysis for our rust removal. There are a lot of reasons for that. And the biggest reason for that is it's the most accepted method for restoring antique tools because it doesn't remove any metal. And it's highly debated in sites, especially some of my saw sites for doing saw plates and things like that. But regardless, whatever you believe is the right thing to do if you want to sit there and just hose them down with WD-40 and scrape them with a razor blade, I think that's great. But electrolysis is recognized by museums and antique restorers as the least invasive and a very effective way at removing rust, and that's what we use. But in this case, we wanted to try, or I got in my mind that I want to try a different product because, and I'll show you in a second what we got going on here, but some of these chisels, the mortise chisels and things like that, have got handles on them, and it was going to create a challenging situation in hanging them in the electrolysis solution and so on and so forth. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to try the Evaporust stuff. Keith Rucker and A-Bomb Adam is, they use the Evaporust and on their machine tools, and I thought, you know what, I'll try the Evaporust. I've never tried it before. I've always done the least invasive things, WD-40 Bass or PB Blaster and scrape them, Scotch-Brite pads and the whole 9 yards, or electrolysis is strips it. And I'm going to show you an example of something I restored with electrolysis recently that was really wasted and came out beautiful. But I want to do a review on this product because I couldn't find Evaporust, but I did find an equivalent in the PB manufacturer's range of it at Home Depot. And I'm going to show you what it did. But first, I'll show you this Langston miter box. I think it's if I remember right, it's a 9.5. It's a very sought after miter box. that I restored recently, and I think you can go back in my channel and there's some electrolysis videos about when I was going through this. Stay right there. I'm going to walk out, grab it, and come right back here instead of turning you. Hold on. So this is the miter box. I'm going to come up close to the camera so I can see what you're looking at. But this is a very sought after miter box because it only has the 3 detents in it when it turns. Or 3, I thought there were 3. It's only, oh yeah, 3. So there's one here, and one here. It's a very sought after miter box. And I restored this miter box using electrolysis. You can see that I'm missing this saw support right here. But this miter box was completely destroyed, and electrolysis completely removed the rust. This is, you know, as it came out, it's been oiled, all original screws, all original hardware. There's the old patina on it, but there is absolutely no rust. It's just like brand new. These are the original wood with the old sandpaper on top, plates on it. You can see the brass. It even fixed, this old detent stop right here that I'm pulling out, was completely rusted, frozen. This whole thing was rusted solid. And this came out beautiful. It's one of what I would consider a showpiece in my shop. I'm just going to put it back real quick and then I'll show you what I've been working on. And I want to do this review because not everybody is into electrolysis, which I wish you would get into it. Electrolysis is simple. It's self-regulating. It stops on its own when it's done. It's inexpensive and it's ridiculously effective. But I tried this PB Blaster. I'm going to show you what it is. They did not have the Evaporust, so I bought this PB Blaster Metal Rescue Rust Remover. It's 1 gallon. It says it works. I said, I think this is the same as the Evaporust, so let's try it. Now, the one thing that you're going to see in the back here is it does not give you a breakdown of what this stuff is, so I'm wearing gloves because I don't know what it is. It says no alkalis, no acids, no solvents, no toxic, no hazardous. All right, but it doesn't break down on here what it is. So that, I think, is interesting. I find it odd. Maybe they're trying to protect their patent or their mixture here, but you would think that when people are playing with shit that eats metal, you would put on the back what it is. But I'm going to show you what it did. So I have here, and I keep getting ripped about moving the camera around, but I'm going to show you. So I have here a sample of what I've done so far. Now these Narex chisels right here, these are all mortise chisels, were completely rusted, as these socket head chisels right here, the same. And I mean, I'm not talking about, let me see if I can pull something out of his, let me show you what I'm working on here, or what I'm talking about. I want to be completely transparent. So this is the bucket that he gave me at his shop. He gave me some Wolverine jigs. I'm getting an 8-inch grinder from him to set up another grinding station. I already have one, but I'll set up another one. This is the thing to do Irish grinds on the Wolverine jig, which I made my own, so now I have a real one. But I'm trying to find something as rusty as everything was. This isn't a great representation, but everything was rusted, heavily rusted, similar to this. The chisels were extremely rusted. I don't see anything in here. Here, there's a couple of, I know this is kind of fragmented, but you see these saws. These are old English saws. You can see the two number 7s here. There's a Miller Falls and a Bailey number 7. You can still see the rust on the Frog. You can see the rust on the saws. This was all from the fire. You can see the rust on this one. You know, these are heavily rusted, but these are some really nice saws. You can see the rust on the side of the Bailey here. I hope I get it right in the light. And the Miller Falls, I'm going to restore these as well. Probably going to use electrolysis on these bodies. You would have to find a place. So if you see the edge of the Frog right here, where the iron was still on it, you can see the clean metal. You can actually still see the machine marks on this. But the rest of it from them hosing it down, you can, oops, drop the lever cap. Hopefully you can see how bad the rust was. It's going to be hard for me to explain how rusted these tools were, and I know this is getting long, but it's important. It's important from an educational standpoint and from a product standpoint. So we have these mortise chisels, these socket head chisels. This is one of my construction chisels that I keep in my tool belt, and I lent it out, and the guys brought it back to me, and it was rusted, so I threw it in with it. We have this timber slick, and of course the irons for the number 7s. I've taken them out of the Evaporust, the PB Blaster solution. You can see right here, I just threw it in I cut the top off a cranberry juice container, put it in there. Now when it goes in, it's completely clear. And this is how it's darkened. In using this, when I take them out, all I'm doing is wiping them off with a Scotch-Brite. And I don't mean you're not scrubbing them. You're just wiping them off. And this is what's coming out. So I'm going to get you a good view down. I'm going to show you what they came out like. The lever caps, the cap irons, you can see, make sure I get this right. You can see where the pitting was, where they were really pitted around here. Now these are covered with oil right now. I covered them. I just grabbed this off my lathe. Just, 3-in-1 oil. After I wiped them clean, I'm putting 3-in-1 oil on them so they don't flash rust again. But you can see how clean these have come out. These were completely rusted, like to the point where you couldn't turn the screw. You can see the pitting through here, and it's just removed. Now there's still a little bit on this one, and I let these sit in 48 hours, but there's still a little bit right here, but nothing crazy. I mean, if you look at my plane till, sorry, I was knocking things down. I mean, I can pull a plane iron out. See if I can get this out. And you're going to see, just in my everyday users, I hope that rust shows up. These are late 1800s tools. There is rust on these just from, humidity and stuff in the shop on my everyday tools. These that I'm pulling out here to show you the progress were worse than my everyday users. They were trashed. These planes are user planes. I pull this out of the till for smoothing. I have, tons here, and they've all got higher level of rust on them than what I ended up with here. But I'm going to show you a few. So let's get you viewed back down here to the bench. So I showed you this one. See how clean it came out. This was sitting in that solution for 48 hours, and it just wiped off. I'll show you the plane iron. And if you look, you can see where the cap iron was on it. This had all completely rusted. I don't know if you can see some of the pitting in there. I did have the tip of this sticking out of the solution, so I did not do the edge right here. But it was in decent shape, so I decided to put it in upside down like that. And the backside, you can still see a teeny little bit of rust right here. But like I said, these have been oiled so they don't flash rust off. And these are almost like brand new. I mean, they're beautiful. And I did not know that there was a product. It's the other iron. The other cap iron. You can see where some of the pitting is here. I can actually still feel some of the rust up in here, but this was all completely brown, rusted. And you can see how it came out. It's incredible for zero work, literally letting it sit in there and then just wiping it off. Here's the other plane iron. This one is definitely the Miller Falls. I can still see the original machine marks in this. This has not been used very much. This back has never been lap flat. So Tony has probably never really used this very much. At some point, somebody tried to sharpen it or do some rudimentary grinding on it. They did a terrible job. And you can see where it was sitting on the frog. You can see where the cap iron was on it. But this is like brand new. Beautiful from a restoration standpoint. This timber slick, it only sat in the solution this far. I soaked a rag and wrapped a rag around here to see if I could get some of the rust to come off, but there's a pretty good comparison there look at the surface. There's one little spot down in the corner here that didn't come out, but I know this back needs to be lapped flat anyway, so that's going to come out when it's lapped. But you can see the rust up in the top here. And this has been soaking in oil, so I'll scrape a bunch of this off. Or I will get a bigger container and let this soak all the way up to the top here. These socket head chisels, they were gone. They were rusted to the point where you would have thrown them in the rubbish. And I think they came out terrific. And there's actually a few really nice ones in here. I know with the glasses that I have on that I'm going to have a hard time reading them, but this is a Witherby right here. I don't know if you can see the Witherby stamp right above my thumb here. It's upside down. But I don't know if I can get it in close enough to the camera and get it to focus, but you can see the Witherby stamp. This is a beautiful chisel, a Witherby. It came out gorgeous, a little 1/4 inch. Absolutely beautiful. Didn't remove any metal. This one's a Taylor. I don't know anything about Taylor. I'm going to have to look it up and see what I can learn about Taylor as a chisel. But this is like a little, I can't tell if it's 3/8 or 1/2 inch, but You know, these were completely, totally rusted. And they came out gorgeous. There's a Buck Brothers here. I did put this on the plate and just to see how far the back was out of flat, and you can see how far the back's out of flat. So this is going to actually take some flattening to get this thing flat on the back to where I can hone it. And I'm going to hone all these and make handles for them and give them back to them. This is a Buck Brothers as well, older Buck Brothers. See the Buck Brothers up there on the socket head. But yeah, I mean, what a terrific job. And then, of course, you know, he's got his Narex. These are, you know, newer chisels. You can see his Narex mortise chisels here. And again, they were completely rusted. This is how they came out of the solution. One thing that I will tell you, hopefully you can see this, they have like a chrome-like coating on them, which is gone now. This is just down to bare metal. I don't know what is in that coating, but you can see some of it right here. I assume just the rust ate it. And this is what came out of the solution. Is a good view of that chrome coating on this one too. You can see some of the chrome coating here, down the side, on the top. The light catches it right. You can see some of the chrome coating here. I think that was all eaten by the rust. And then this is how they came out of the solution. So these are beautiful, just like brand new. And it's a whole set, all different sizes. But the challenge with doing these in electrolysis is that I would have had to hang them with copper wire around the tops and try to keep the handles out of the water while the electrolysis just did its, its job on the metal. See some of the chrome coating here. That got, that's all that's left from the rust. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that this product, wherever I put it, this PB Blaster, it's $39, so it's $40 a gallon at Home Depot. Worked terrific. And also that solution right there can be what I took out of here, can be reused. And what it says on the packaging is you can use it until it stops working. So I will run that through a filter into another container and keep it. Take all the metal out of whatever's in there and continue to use it until it stops working. But, this is, for empirical evidence, this is terrific. If I got this out of the electrolysis solution, I would have been happy. You can see there's still a little bit of rust on this one right here, or a little staining. But no big deal. I mean, it's returned back to usable. These are all usable, out of something that, look like these. And I will probably use electrolysis on those two bodies. I'll probably take the frogs off and put those in the solution. I don't know why I didn't do the cap iron on that one, but I'll probably soak that cap iron. I'll use electrolysis on those saw plates, which is like heresy, but I will take those apart. These are all riveted and split nuts and the whole 9 yards. These are old English style saws, but the only way, most people just soak them with WD-40, scrape them with a razor blade. I'm going to use electrolysis on them, and they will end up in my till up here with all these saws that I've restored. And they're all users. They're all the plates on these are pristine and beautiful. I'm not selling them. But the project that I'm working on today, and the reason I'm getting in there, is I've got a couple of 8-foot levels here. And one of them, what I'll call my beater level, which is this Empire on the outside, my Empire 8-footer right here. This one gets run through the ringer on job sites. It goes in the roof racks. It sits in the back of the truck with other tools. It's taken out, and it still reads level, perfect. It's been checked, but there is a very, very slight bow. It's been bent in the bottom, very, very, very slight, but I can see it. I'm going to use the new one next to it to measure it. So I have the new 8-foot Empire next to it. I'm going to use that one as my straight edge to measure this one and then try and bend this one back to straight. And it's only one section. It's very, very small bend. But I can see it. I know it's measurable. And that's what today's project is. So I wanted to, as I'm cleaning up my workbench here, so I was doing some drawings, and I use that for when I'm doing architectural drawings. My wife was working on my new gimbal. She got me a gimbal, and she was trying to figure that gimbal out. So that's all sitting here. And then as you look down on the joinery bench, you know, we have the PB Blaster, Evaporust slash thing, and all the things that we've taken rust off of. So I have to clear the bench off so that I can lay the levels out. I'm going to clamp them in the vices here. Clamp the bent one. Almost knocked these off. Clamp the bent one along like this, lay the other one on top of it. Grab some feeler gauges and check along and make some notations on it of how high they are. Find the bent spot, and then set up a place to unbend it in that vise using dowels on and a dial indicator on the sides of the bend, and crimp the bend in, watch the dial indicator, see how much is coming out so I can measure how much it's unbending until I get it, hopefully, it's just aluminum, so hopefully straight. I can use this one just the way it is, just for level, because it reads perfectly level. But I can't use it as a straight edge. And that's, in my work, a straight edge is very important. So I want to get this thing back straight, at least to where I can't measure the bend in it. So in summation, that's what's going on. Just wanted to pump out a video. So I was cleaning off the bench here, show you what's up, and do a little review of this PB Blaster rust remover, because this is it's a good product. What that stuff did to these tools I think is measurable. It's simple. They took no sandpaper or scraping or honing or anything like that. The rust just came off. And of course, I hose them all down with oil here so that they don't flash rust again. And, for anyone that restores old tools like we do, I think that's important. I really do. A lot of people are scared of electrolysis. I don't know why. I think electrolysis is great. But if you're scared of electrolysis and you just want a solution to be able to, buy some old junky rusty chisels or planes and just toss them in a solution, pull them out, and the rust is gone, that PB Blaster is it. How it works. So I am not paid in any way or promoted in any way. I bought that with my own money. But when I see things that are going to work, that's kind of what this channel is all about. When I see things that work, I'm going to tell you about them. And that works phenomenal. And it can cross all kinds of different genres. It doesn't just have to be tool restoration. If you have chainsaw chains that got wet and rusty, you can just throw them in, a little container with it and they'll come out clean. It's a terrific solution. It works great. So rather than having to set up an electrolysis setup like I do most of the time, when I'm doing it, you just toss it in it, pull it out, done, time. So that's it. And I might shoot another video when I get into straightening that level, show you the process that I go through. It's a very unknown. I'm not going to get too deep into this because I know this video is getting long, but flattening things is a very, very misunderstood process. The ultimate rule that I've learned in flattening anything, whether it's a big ass slab with hand planes, or if you use belt sanders, or use a random orbit sander, or electric planer, or whatever it is, the ultimate rule, number one, is you only want to take off the high spots until they're gone. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit when I straighten try to straighten that level. Now, whether it will work or not, I don't know, but I think I can do it, and I'm going to go at it, and that'll be another video. So I appreciate you guys stopping in. Hit like, subscribe, share it if you want. Probably share this on some of my hand plane and chisel forums. And I'm sure I'll get a bunch of pushback on it. And, you can think what you want, but I have the evidence right here. I did it. It worked. I don't see any downside to it. It says it's not acid, and it's not this, and it's not that. I don't know what it is, but it works. So, my channel's not monetized, so I get no money out of this, but information-wise, you have the information. So, appreciate you watching. Happy New Year again, and also we're going to shoot a bunch of video this weekend. We got the parts for the sawmill to put the rest of the sawmill together, so we're going to shoot a bunch of video on that. So there'll be a bunch of videos coming out, and I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for hanging out with me for a minute. Appreciate it.